Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Greetings and salutations. You are tuning in to the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. My name is Brett Segal, the Disgruntled Millennial. I always broadcast to you live from my safe space down here in northern Florida, where I'm always free from your bigotry, racism, hatred, microaggressions, and patriarchy. Today, we have a very, very special guest. We have Marcus Weldon. He is the Santa Claus Shooter. This is a name that he was dubbed because he got into an altercation while he was wearing a Santa Claus costume. He was out one night minding his own business right before Christmas, helping a friend with a flat tire when they were approached by several threatening figures who were harassing them both. One thing led to another. Shots were fired, and this case has called into question the importance of stand your ground laws and exactly how threatened does one have to be or feel before pulling the trigger is justified. He's been painted by the media as trigger happy and guilty of an unjustified shooting, and we are going to get the full story from the horse's mouth. Thank you for joining the show, Marcus. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Hanging in there. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Let's talk a little bit about the night in question. Can you give us a rundown of what it is that happened that night from your perspective?
Yeah, I was leaving an event. I wore the Santa Claus outfit because it was a work-related venue that we had. That was part of our uniform, basically a Christmas type of uniform. So when I left the event, I helped a young lady change her tire who was also a coworker of mine and a friend. And during the altercation, she walked away, and it was an altercation that happened at the window of the gas station. This is around 1 a.m. at night. So you could figure Detroit, dark.
Right.
Really, only thing you got coming that way is problems anyway when you go to a gas station. So unfortunately, because of the fact that her tire was so destroyed, I thought I could change it, but I was going to call a tow truck because I thought all I had to do was put some air in it and go about my merry way. But I called a tow truck, and she walked off. And when she walked off, two guys pulled up. One got out. I guess he was trying to talk to her or something, and she didn't give him a time of day. He got upset, pushed her. As I seen the altercation happen right in front of me, I walked up, tried to intervene. The threat went from her to me. Turns out he had another guy in the car. At the time, I didn't know how many he had in the car, but I knew it was at least one. And he went back to his vehicle after some pushing and shoving and said something in another language. He was Arabic descent. To his buddy in the car, he ran back, got his firearm, and we ended up having a shootout in the parking lot. Later on that night, I ran to the Detroit police car who was up ahead, who was parked in front of a club. They thought I was the bad guy, pulled the guns out, and I was arrested.
That's basically the gist of what happened. Now, do you think that there was sort of a racial or cultural motivation for what was going on? Like you said they were of Arab descent. I mean, we all know how women are treated in Arab-speaking countries. If you want to go there, but this seems to be sort of one of these things where the left has to sort of decide who they're which minority they're going to side with in one of these cases. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where you ended up getting the shaft. How did that sort of play into this whole thing?
Well, it's kind of hard to say if it was any racial thing, but I know that it ended up coming out that alcohol and other drugs were the influence of everything. I mean, he didn't get his way. I mean, I know a lot of men, I don't necessarily want to put a race on it, but a lot of men who don't get their way, they tend to get upset, especially when alcohol is involved. Now, sometimes people want to play into the narrative that, people from the Arabic descent, they tend to be a little bit more violent. I mean, yeah, we have stories like we hear about that, but I can't really put and say that that's exactly what happened. I think it's more so drugs and alcohol.
Right.
And because it turns out he was 3-4 times over the legal limit. He was high off of marijuana. I believe it was also some cocaine or something in the system. So he was just out of his mind as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And it turned out to be a situation where he wanted to, see how far he can take this, and I wouldn't let him do any harm to the young lady or myself. So
What was the exact, who got shot and where? And did this play into the legal ramifications at the end?
Yeah, he got shot. The initial guy who started the whole thing got shot in the stomach and the leg. His partner got shot in the arm. When he went under the seat, he grabbed his firearm. He turned around and he started to walk back towards me. That's when I fired my first shot. He kind of turned to his left side with his arm kind of pointed at me, and then I fired another shot. I fired all together 4. 2 hit him, 1 hit his partner, and the other one hit, I believe it was the driver inside door, which was right where the driver was sitting. Then after that, we seen a video clip of the driver running to the dumpster. He was picking stuff up. He was throwing stuff in a trash can. Unfortunately, the gun was never recovered.
So let's just, for the audience, let's just put this out there. Let's just lay it all on the table. Exactly how threatened, like you absolutely, most certainly felt threatened enough to make to turn this into a shooting, basically.
Yeah. Well, after we had gotten to the physical altercation, he said something to his partner, and it was in another language. As I started to kind of sit back and trying to think about exactly what was said, I couldn't make out, was it, it sounded like a threatening, like it was almost like when he said something to his partner, it was like he was asking his partner for either backup or to retrieve something. The young lady actually felt that he said something along the lines of, "I got something for you." So, it was all kind of
very threatening.
Happened so fast. Yeah. And so when he went to the car, he made it clear that he wasn't trying to get in the vehicle because the door was wide open. All he had to do was get in the car and leave. Instead, he started reaching under the seat. And when he was going to the car, I seen the driver who had, a conversation kind of going with him and his partner. He was reaching and searching around the car as well. And then the video cam ended up being released, and he was reaching in the car, a threatening movement, like, looking for something. And keep in mind, we just got into a physical altercation.
Right.
So
it was a pretty cut and dry self-defense.
Yeah. And when he rolls up, then the clerk, he also released he also called on 911 and said that it was 2 guns involved, and he disappeared. That was one of the big problems with the case. He was the third witness.
All right, I got to cut you off right there. We will be right back with Marcus Weldon. This is Brett Segal, the Disgruntled Millennial. Get me at Shaq General. We'll be right back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.